I want to start by saying thank you so much everyone for sending in your clips for the top 5 fights. I wouldn't be able to make this series without you, so whether you've sent in just one fight or sent in a ton over the past couple years, I appreciate it so much. And of course, if you have a clip that you would like to send in for the top 5, you can send that to Kristofer at PvPNewWorld.com. And starting us off today, we've got PASCALITO New World playing some Warhammer and Great Axe, and he is on a level 47 character. He's got 3 level 60s chasing him, very low on health. He gets around the corner, drinks his 800 heal potion, and gets a fantastic stun on the first player, almost catches him with the spin, and the gap closer to bring one of the 60s down. Huge damage on the next guy as he goes in to try to save his friend, and PASCALITO manages to bring a second guy down. And unfortunately, the Fire Mage gets him at the end, but level 47, hitting that hard, really well played. Moving on to the next clip, we've got AkinosPvP. He is playing some Fire Staff and Greatsword. All of these clips are actually from the previous patch because the new patch has only been out for a couple days at the time that I recorded this. And Akinos loves playing this build, so with the new Fire Staff in the game, I am super excited for him. And, well, he's out here in Brimstone just hanging around the chests, and he finds 3 green players. He manages to kill the first one, and the enemy mob jumps on top of him, and the other guy goes to hide behind the pillar. Akinos chases after him, feeding him some fireballs, does connect with the fireball there, and the musket rapier player just goes for the gap closer through. And Akinos, I think, wants to stay right on top of him. He uses the gap close to get out of range of the hammer and then finishes this guy off with the greatsword. Now, I'm pretty sure he's running an intelligence-based spec here, just based on the damage that he's doing. So he actually has pretty good damage on that greatsword, all things considered. Throws down the meteor shower and gets great damage on this guy as he just sits in it. And then Akinos hits him with a couple greatsword attacks, and the NPC taking down that player, but it's not over. Now they want revenge. They end up coming back, and Akinos gets himself in a pretty tight situation in the pillars here, and Akinos manages to get a big combo there with the Incinerate into the Pillar of Fire. He shoots the cannon, and the cannon absolutely whiffs it. That should have been a connection, I think. And the enemy player here, kind of low health, just out of range of the greatsword. Akinos quickly chugs a potion, turns around, and then he drops another meteor shower. Such great placement. Both of these guys taking so much damage from it. Then he pops the Incinerate, gets a little bit more damage in on the hammer player there. And unfortunately, he does get hit by that stun just at the edge of the radius. And the musket player just throwing down his traps, his grenades. Akinos staying right on top of him. The hammer player having a lot of trouble keeping up. He doesn't look like he's running a gap closer on that sword and shield bar. And oh my god, that meteor shower doing so much damage. Now it's just the enemy hammer player left, and he just starts feeding him the greatsword attacks. I am really excited to see how this build looks for him in the new patch, because this greatsword is going to hit so much harder. The fire staff probably is going to hit harder too. I'm actually curious how he built this. Hopefully he can say in the comments down below. And he manages to finish off just about, there we go, the very last guy, taking the tank down. And yeah, really cool to see builds like that. It's going to be really fun to see so many cool ones in the future too. Moving on to the next one, we've got another guy that we've seen a lot of in the top 5. The one, the only Atlas Fishmo, and he is playing that sword and shield hammer tank build. And you can just see him doing big damage to that poor guy caught in the stun chain. Atlas turns around right away, catching the Great Axe player in his own offensive combo there with the counter stun. And I just love it how Atlas plays this build. His timing on it is so good, and he does a fantastic job watching his opponents and just reading their moves, and he's doing a great job not pulling C. He stops in the middle of that heavy attack, blocks the incoming attack, again blocking the incoming hammer attack, and then going for that partial charged heavy to land and just finish that guy off. And well, he finds 2 more enemy players jumping on top of him. The spear player taking a lot of damage from Atlas, and Atlas unfortunately forced to use his potion and just be a bit defensive here with his ultimate, taking a bit of damage from that bow player. So he kites back to the trees a little bit here, goes for a few light attack chains on these guys, just getting a little bit of chip damage before he tries to go for that combo. And again, just kind of swinging that hammer around, manages to catch a beautiful stun there into the knockback. Oh, this guy just escapes He had enough freedom on, and then Atlas turns around trying to get the finish here. The counter stun from the spear player allows him to survive, but there we go. He comes in, hits the hard stun into the knockback, and this guy finished off by that partial charged heavy attack, and Atlas, so chunky, manages to just tank out that damage and turn around and right away put some pressure on this next guy. The spear player just rolling away, but he gassed his stamina there. This is Atlas's chance. Unfortunately, he gets just out of range, and Atlas does a good job just not overcommitting to any target here. Beautiful timing. He saw the riposte, ends up just holding the heavy attack, and that is a nasty punish. This guy hanging on with just 1 health. Oh my god. I gotta say, that looks kind of like a desync on the melee tracking. He would have had the kill, but the archer turns around, starts putting some damage in. Atlas, again, doesn't pursue the target that's getting away from him, and he puts big damage into the spear player. Great use of the grit on those light attacks, too, just absorbing that incoming knockdown. And a third player ends up entering the fight. Again, this spear player just about finished, and Atlas almost gets the kill, but sees that the bow player ended up coming in very low health, and there he hits that partial charged heavy at the end. Beautiful timing, and he takes the player down, but now Atlas finds himself getting comboed pretty hard by the sword and shield players. He goes for a few light attack spins. These guys back off a little bit and give him the space he needs to just kind of break some distance, turn around, and he does get into his resolve, so he's going to have some nice durability here. And it looks like the Fire Staff player is coming into this fight as well, a third mage, and Atlas just kind of being patient, trying to pull these guys into a nice trap, waiting for those cooldowns. There's the hard stun on the sword and shield. He turns around, gets the hammer stun on the other player, goes for the knockback. Unfortunately, this guy has some pretty good durability, so he's able to absorb a lot of the damage, but he overcommits way too hard trying to take Atlas down there, and Atlas goes for a very hard punish with the hammer, almost finishing him off. And the mage is not able to even slow him down. The spear player turns around trying to get that defensive stun. Very, very risky against a build with so much grit. And there we go. Atlas hits the hard stun into the knockdown, and this guy's just about dead. And Atlas finishes him off with a couple light attacks, just sticking in that grit to ensure the kill. And now it's just the mage and one spear player left. Atlas just gets outside of all of the AoE stuff that the mage threw down, and he turns around, notices that the spear player is still very low health, catches him with a nasty stun into the knockback. There's the partial charged heavy, and that combo seals the deal. It's just Atlas and the mage left, and I love it. This guy's like, nope. He just runs away. Honestly, I can't even blame the guy. And next up, we've got TDFish, and he is playing some Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet inside of OPR. Finding himself on the enemy outpost, I believe here. 2 enemy players end up coming in, and he goes for a bit of AoE, but ends up pulling out with the Fire Staff. 1 enemy player follows him around the corner. He gets really good burst with the Fire Staff, tries to get him with the Ice Spike. The enemy player dropping very low, and TDFish finding himself taking quite a bit of pressure from these guys, and he sees the players kind of converging on him. He goes for that burnout. Unfortunately, doesn't connect on the archer, but he does get the spacing that he wants. 4 enemy players on his tail here, and TDFish just throws down the Ice Gauntlet in the middle of them. Good call, getting a little bit of damage, but at least forcing them to split up a little bit, and that's going to help out a lot in this fight. Actually, looks like he got fairly good damage on one of the players in the back. He goes for some Fire Staff damage, just landing the heavy into the burnout, and gets pretty good pressure on the first spear player that engages with him. And then TD just being very patient. Beautiful connection on that fireball. The heavy attack lands. The next heavy attack lands as well. And he just misses that last heavy. There we go. He finishes off the player in the back just as the group starts to converge on him, and he gets into the entomb in time, and he turns around. Huge damage on that Ice Spike. Turns around with the Fire Staff into the pillar. Connects another enemy player going down. The spear player going for big pressure, and TDFish popping his ultimate in the middle there to give himself the healing power he needs to stay on his feet right now, and he gets really good damage into the Void Gauntlet player, catching him with a snappy combo with the fireball, and there's a beautiful Ice Spike. Oh my god, so much damage, so well played. And for the last clip, we've got one more 1vx brought to us by TDFish. And again, I want to thank everybody so much for sending in those clips. If you guys have an awesome clip that you want to see in the New World Top 5, you can send that to Kristofer at pvpnewworld.com. Check out pvpnewworld.com for a bunch of written guides to a bunch of different PvP builds. If you want to catch me live on Twitch, there's a link down below for you guys, and I'm going to be streaming a lot again now. And of course, a big thank you to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. They can help keep you safe on the internet, and if you want to get a deal with them, you can with the link down below. Of course, a big thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon that have supported in the past, that are supporting now. Thank you guys so much. And thanks everybody just for tuning in and watching today. I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope you're looking forward to some more. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.